Good afternoon. Welcome to the West Junction Football Show and our World Cup Daily Show. I'm Chris Bell. Delighted to say, usually it's just me and one other. But for some bizarre reason, I've managed to get a pretty much full house for this one. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by four very proud Englishmen in Gareth Walker, Stephen Brown, Dave Foy, and Jason Booker. How are we all doing, gents?
Very well.
Yeah, all right.
Good.
Come on.
I mean,
we go.
Let's be fair. A week is a solid start at this time. Hands up, who powered through hasn't been to sleep today? we've all caved at some point for an answer. Yeah.
That would be insane. That would be insane if you just decided to stay up for the entire day after.
I feel like I've got a bit of an hangover today. That's what it feels like. Like I was just here watching it on my own. Went to bed at about 4:45, but then my sleep was so like broken and staggered between then because my missus has flown today, so she left at like 10. So it's like, yeah, very limited sleep, pretty tired, pretty hungover through not drinking at all.
Took a while to come down as well, didn't it? Like after the game, it takes a while to simmer down.
It's like an adrenaline hangover, I think, isn't it? From that excitement of last night. A combination of things as well. It wasn't a simple game, was it? It was a game that put us through the ringer in all ways, shape, and form. We will come on to that a little bit later. Without being too disrespectful for the rest of the tournament, we're going to whistle through the rest of the games that have taken place over the weekend and then probably get into a bit of a longer chat about England. Let's start then, if I just uncover Gaz and go to the right view mode. There we go.
You can leave me covered if you want, Chris, because I didn't see that game. So,
I mean, the big question is, did anybody see this game? Because this was, I think, was like a 5 or 6 o'clock kickoff. I'll be honest, I forgot it was on and caught it half an hour in. Did anybody actually watch this one?
I watched the second half.
Go on then, Jay. You're on this one. What was the game like?
Pretty ordinary, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was a really, really ordinary game with two pretty average teams who will very likely get knocked out by the next opposition. That's kind of exactly how it felt. It's what I thought when I finished watching the game. Obviously, went all the way to penalties. Australia's penalties were horrendous. Australia thought it apt to send up a child to take the most decisive penalty. The poor lad, I think he's 16, 17.
Yeah, I think he's just turned, in fact, weirdly, I think he's just turned 18 because Jed, obviously, is a regular viewer and has been a regular viewer of these World Cup daily shows, has talked about it quite a lot, actually, over the course of the World Cup so far about what a good talent he is. But you're right, he was 18. It's his first major tournament. I mean, it's one of those, though. Is it coaching putting you forward, or has he had the balls to say, you know what, I'll take one? And if he has, then fair play to him for that. But it's a learning curve for him, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's very likely the kind of youthful exuberance will have probably put his hand up and, he wants to be the man. But the reality is somebody, the captain, an experienced member within that team should be saying, look, we're going to stand up and put this forward. And to be fair to him, his penalty weren't even the worst. He hit the bar, but some of them were shocking. Yeah, the first one, it was Suter won it.
Yeah, weird for two centre halves amongst 4 takers to be the ones to step up.
Well, that one still hasn't come down. He's literally still travelling. It was that bad. Anyway, I think it could have gone either way, mate. It weren't a great game. Both teams have a distinct lack of quality, and I think they've got Argentina next, right?
I was just about to double check that as you were speaking. I think you're right. I think it is.
Pretty sure that's right.
It is Argentina versus Egypt tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
They'll just go out comfortably. I think.
I suspect you're probably right. We'll move on to the next one then. That was the first of the round of. Put it this way: it was either the first of the round of 32, or I buggered up my ordering anyway. We'll go with it. Colombia versus Ghana. We actually thought this one would be a pretty decent game, Brownie, when we were speaking on Friday's show. Colombia just doing enough to get the job done.
Yeah. We didn't know if we were going to be in for a bit of a classic, did we? But I don't think it really worked out that way. I didn't see it. I'm not gonna lie. I did not see this game. It wasn't top of my list to keep an eye out on. But Colombia, solid out there. I mean, really, really solid. Flew through the group. Going to be a problem. Switzerland versus them tomorrow. Actually, I think that'll be a really, really tasty game. Actually, tomorrow at 9:00. Interested to see who comes out on top, because I think Switzerland are flying as well. So yeah, tasty one.
Yeah, it's just on. I had messed up my ordering because this was this was the last game, or one of the last games of the round of 32 as well. Argentina versus Cape Verde, and this game was a proper corker, guys.
Yeah, well, we were sat chatting in the group chat, weren't we? I can't remember who was there, but me, you, and Jay, I think, we definitely watched it.
Yeah, it's one of the few games actually that I think took place at 2, 3 in the morning, or whatever, that we actually all. Oh, actually, no, was it 11?
It was 11. It was 11 p.m.
It was quite late. We were all up for it, and we thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was a great game, wasn't it? It was arguably one of the games of the tournament. Well, until last night, which was probably one of the games of the tournament as well. But you just can't. We've said it all along, haven't we? You can't give Cape Verde enough credit, really. They were absolutely fantastic. And the second goal that they scored, I got shouted at because I woke my missus up. I think you did the same, didn't you, Jay? You woke your missus up as well.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, my word, what a goal. It was just unbelievable. And it was just a shame. I was gutted. I was absolutely gutted when Argentina scored the winner. I really, really was.
Yeah, I think the wording, Jay, it was the wording from your other half's message that made me laugh the most. So along the lines of, is there any need for that sort of noise at this time of the morning?
That's exactly what she said. And I was like, yes, there is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was such a good game, though.
It was a great game. It was, without a doubt, the game of the tournament up until last night. It was quickly eclipsed by the England-Mexico game. They were both similar in terms of carnage and drama and whatnot. But Cape Verde are just, they're an island. Well, a set of islands, actually. There's 9 islands in Cape Verde, and their population is 30,000 people less than that of Bradford. Like, when you put it into perspective, it's insane. They don't even have a proper league system between the islands. They all have independent leagues and then marry together at the end to have like a inter-island Champions League. It's madness that they've been able to do this. We all know the story about the 40-year-old goalkeeper, and they didn't just turn up and kind of house their way through games. They turned up and had a real goal. They went at Argentina and they kept on going at Argentina, and they were out on the legs, weren't they? Come the end of extra time, and they were still going at it. And to be able to equalise twice, once in extra time, honestly, just unbelievable that they were able to do that to the reigning world champions. And it'd have been a fairy tale to go through, but nobody will forget, what they've done at this World Cup.
Yeah, Dave, I want to kind of bring you in. I don't know if you necessarily saw the match, but have you seen the goal from Sidney Cabral, the equalising goal for Cape Verde? What a brilliant strike that was.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to live. It's going to live on forever. As we've been saying, we've been giving the flowers and the plaudits already to Cape Verde. Like, it'll be, whenever they show montages of great World Cup goals, it thoroughly deserves to be on there. To be honest, I can't say enough for it. What a great strike it were. And it'd have beaten. I mean, I was about to say it'd beat any goalkeeper in the world. It's beaten the current, in inverted commas, best goalkeeper in the world in Argentina's Emi Martinez. If we're going on, they are the current World Cup holders. He's beaten the best goalkeeper in the world with that strike. So, yeah, they deserve all the plaudits and all the credit that they get. Did they cause Germany a problem? Was it they drew with Spain, didn't they? I think that's what it was. Once they drew with Spain, I think the signs were already there. I know the goalie played out of his absolute skin, but I think from that point on, we knew Verdi had a bit of something. And, it's taken extra time and an own goal for the world champions to knock them out.
Yeah. Just a special mention as well to the celebration from Sidney Cabral, because I've never seen anything like it. Like, footballers from time to time, they will celebrate with the crowd, but he basically just stopped the whole game, let himself into the audience, and just hugged his girlfriend and his mum and his sister, and then just stayed there for ages.
I think a mate of mine must have had a bet builder of some form on, because in all the beauty of that moment, he was absolutely raging that he didn't get booked for it.
I mean, he should have been booked, I guess. It was so bizarre.
It was bizarre, and just such a great moment of that World Cup. I'd say such a shame that they couldn't at least force penalties. Let's carry on then. Who wants to come in on this one? The first of the last 16 round games. Slightly unsurprisingly, saw the end of the road for the first of the home nations in Canada, beaten comfortably in the end by what we've said all the way along, that all of us have said, a very good-looking Morocco side.
Yeah, I mean, Canada made a good history in the first half. They probably the better team. They interrupted Morocco, but then Morocco, showed all the class second half, dealt with it. Once they kind of got into the flow, counter-attacking against Canada, it was only going one way. But a really good World Cup from Canada, you've got to say overall. Jesse Marshall's comments though post-match did make me chuckle. Because as Leeds fans, we've heard some of that talk before when we've taken a beating and then a heavy scoreline, and then kind of he said he still prefer to be them. I'm like, well, wouldn't you have preferred to have gone through? But never mind. But yeah, no, it's a really good showing from Canada. Not obviously football's not their top sport in that country, and I think this will give them a lot of encouragement. But yeah, Morocco, obviously we know how strong they are, and they'll be a big problem. I think, is it Spain or Portugal they're playing next? Is it? Or France. Oh, I mean, yeah, gonna be an absolute belter.
Yeah, I think you're right, to be fair, because obviously I know Canada, they've got I think two or three clubs. Obviously in the MLS, it is a growing sport over there, and actually the MLS, the fact they've got like Vancouver and Toronto, etc., in the MLS has done a lot for the game over there. But you'd think this World Cup in particular would have certainly helped grow the game that little bit further, Gaz.
Yeah, they have. I would just wanted to talk about the goals because I thought is it Unahi? I don't know how you pronounce his name, but two great finishes, weren't they? I actually Googled it to see who he played for. I thought, I wonder if he'll come to the Premier League anytime soon. But they just look really good, especially on the counter.
We were this close, so it
would be, really.
I seem to say this all the time, but
one of these infamous so close signings for Leeds United. Brownie, help me out here.
I can't remember. Was it after Bielsa? Was it when we had Marsh?
Oh, it was Bielsa summer when we signed Firpo and James. It was that same summer.
Brutal. Would have loved it. Would have absolutely loved it. Would have loved it. But one of them, another one.
Two great finishes, and they were just really good on the counter as well, weren't they? I think the third goal's on the counter, but it was just the better side. And I'm glad you mentioned Jesse Marsh's comments, Brownie, because they were just a bit silly, weren't they? I'd rather be us than them, even though you've just got pumped 3-0, mate.
It's just full of shit, isn't it? Like, there's nothing else to say. It's just full of it.
Leave him alone. We'll carry on. We'll get on to the next one. Paraguay.
Just on Canada. Just quick. No, quick on Canada.
I'm keeping you away from Jesse Marsh.
No, not Jesse Marsh. I just think it's worth mentioning that they basically played the whole tournament without their very, very best player. All of the top nations need their key man, and when you then drop down to that next band of quality, which Canada are definitely in that kind of middling range, they really need their main man. And yeah, they've got some quality within Jonathan David, Promise David, a couple of others. Liam Miller had a really good tournament, but Alphonso Davies would have made such a massive difference in a game like this. And in the first half, when Canada were on top, it could have made all the difference. But Morocco are a proper team, and I think it'll take potential winners to beat them in France.
It will be interesting to see whether it will be France that can do that. Paraguay, in the end, to be fair to Paraguay, very nearly kind of got themselves a goalless draw in 90 minutes in the end. It was only that penalty that separated it. It's fair to say that Paraguay went on the attack, shall we say. Maybe not in footballing terms, but more in physicality and actual GBH. And yeah, came out without a booking. I'm all for it. Love it. Man's game.
I don't know what the referee were playing out. I mean, how they didn't come out with any bookings, let alone a few. I mean, there were one where Mbappe got kind of taken out and then the player kicks out at him and it hits him in the chin. It's not a huge contact, but he does. Don't even get a yellow card, let alone a red card. VAR didn't even review it or anything. It was mental. Kicking up the turf for the penalty, and they tried to make out the way through.
I'm just Googling where he was from. He was from... Oh... he was the Uzbekistan referee that, to be fair, not just in that game, but throughout the entire tournament, has given absolutely no shit whatsoever. Like, I don't think he's handed out a yellow card. He's let the game go like a hell of a lot this tournament. It's not just that game, actually. Now I've seen who it was, Tantashev. I'm not surprised that they got no bookings.
It's probably the worst penalty miss as well, isn't it? It's so blatantly a penalty. it's nuts, really. But yeah, they got through and they deserve to get through. It'd have been an absolute disgrace if Paraguay had somehow managed to do something in that game, really, with the way that we're playing.
Did we see another side to France, do we think, a little bit? Mbappe made reference to it in his post-match comment saying, France can, dig deep, they can fight as well. Not just kind of pleasing on the eye. They've got the other side to them as well.
I think so, yeah.
They've been the best side, haven't they? We've spoken about this in the group chat. They've been easily the best side, in my opinion, so far. Like you said, Brownie, they showed another side to them. And obviously, I think Mbappe, he gets a lot of stick for being arrogant and not a team player. And the coach has come out and defended it and said it's anything but. And he's fantastic around the lads and everything. And it was quite funny at the end where he was just laughing, wasn't he? He was handling it in the right way, really. He was just laughing at him, trying to kick him and wind him up. And he just laughed in the face, didn't he, at the end? And I suppose that's the best way to handle it, to score your pen, take your chance, win the game 1-0 and just laugh about it if you can.
I thought it was class, Gaz, if I'm honest with you. I thought it was absolutely class. He didn't take no shit. He stuck on, didn't he? He gave back as well. He were getting involved and getting stuck in as well. Took his penalty. It takes massive nuts to step up and take a great penalty. I thought that's a good value.
He's a ridiculous player in the Mbappe. Like, when he's at his best, how fast he does everything. It's crazy.
He's like Henry, isn't he? Henry's the only comparable player ever, really, to what Mbappe does. Comes off that left side, so good, so fast. Unbelievable, ridiculous player.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on from one potential winner to a side that we thought could have been, two sides actually, to be fair, we thought could be potential winners. Brazil falling at the last 16 hurdle, beaten by your dark horses, Jay, Erling Haaland's Norway.
Yeah, it's not just Haaland, is it? This team, I think, kind of go under the radar because of the name, the lack of achievements probably at international level. But when you look at what they've been building over the last 4 years, the qualifying campaign, the fact that they've got the best number 9 in the world, for me, arguably the best player in the world. You can have that conversation between Mbappe, Haaland, Kane, and a couple of others. But for me, Haaland's just an absolute freak. And I think what you saw yesterday, though, was way more than just Erling Haaland. Even though he got on the end of the 2 goals, I personally think that this was the best performance throughout the whole tournament so far. The second half, especially. I thought Norway managed the first half really well. Obviously, they give away a really silly penalty, which I actually now think, I thought to start with it was Stonewall. I actually have changed my mind. He gets the ball. It then kind of negates what then comes after because he wins the ball. But they managed that first half really, really well. And they sank Brazil in that second half. They stifled everything and they just pressed them so high. Norway had all of the ball. When would you have ever seen a Brazil team have to play like that? I thought they were excellent yesterday in Norway, and then the 2 goals just kind of rounded it up, and Brazil were kind of fortunate to get anything come the end of the game, really.
Yeah, how often? What would you expect to have seen Norway come out of that game with 66% possession, guys, over Brazil?
Well, it kind of leads me on to a point I wanted to make. You're right. You don't expect that from Brazil, but we've spoken about it before on the pod, particularly these World Cup dailies, about them not being the side that they were, and obviously the esteemed Brazil teams of the past that would just dominate the ball and basically just batter anybody that came in sight. But it led me on. I don't know if it was you lads I was talking to. It was one of the group chats I'm in, and someone asked the question: when was the last time that Brazil truly had a really, really good side? How long ago is it? Was it you lads that were talking? Was it another group chat? But we were trying to work it out. Yeah, and we were basically saying you probably have to go back to 2006, maybe. It's probably
2006. That'd have been when I answered.
Right. Yeah. Do you know, when they were the team everybody needed to beat, and they're just not that side anymore. I mean, we've talked about the midfield with Fabinho and Casemiro. Obviously, Ancelotti's gone in there as a proven winner, but he couldn't do anything against Norway yesterday. It was just a dominant performance, like Jay said. They pressed them so high, and Brazil was second best throughout. And I just don't think, like I said, Brazil are the side they used to be. And the reason for that, you could probably look at a few reasons, but I think a lot of it is the players now in Brazil. They leave so early. They come out of Brazil so early compared to what they used to do. They'd stay a lot longer. But now you see like Endrick, Rayan, they've all left by the time they're 18, 19. I think that probably has an effect, to be one of the reasons, maybe.
That was where the game were won and lost yesterday, Gaz, was the midfield. Sanderberg, the other Berg, Odegaard, they ran all over him. Casemiro couldn't even get a touch, really. I thought Brazil missed. Were it Paqueta that were missing in that midfield yesterday?
He played Martinelli, didn't he? In that,
he played Martinelli, yeah.
AMC role, it was like, don't know about that.
Yeah, it was a strange one, wasn't it? But that midfield battle, I mean, they ran. I really like Sanderberg. I think he's probably underrated as far as the Premier League player is concerned. I think he's a top player. I agree with that. The whole game.
But we've talked about the midfield, haven't we, a lot? And we know from watching the Premier League about Casemiro and Fabinho. Fabinho's legs had gone 3 years ago. That's why Liverpool sold him. Obviously, Casemiro, that's why Man United are letting him go, because they can't run. They can't cover the ground anymore. And like you say, Sanderberg, the way Norway played with the press, they just couldn't handle it, could they?
There was just no tempo to Brazil either. There was a point where they kind of had 3 players around one of the Norwegians, and they got out of their press so easily and straight upfield. And I was kind of waiting for Brazil to do something. Obviously, they brought Endrick on, who there's been a big clamour for him to get more minutes under Ancelotti, and he has that massive chance. Look, if he scored that, could be completely different. Yeah. But it were, a poor second touch, and then the chance goes. But apart from that, Brazil was so disappointing, absolutely disappointing, because I felt against Japan second half, you thought, they might be starting to get going here. But there was just absolutely nothing, and Norway fully deserved it. And Haaland is just, Norway were passing it about, controlling it, but those long balls that they kept firing up, and Haaland had just bully one of the centre-backs, seemed to always create something for them. And then, he has his 2 opportunities. The commentators were making reference to how little actual touches he gets in the game, but God, he just makes the most of it, doesn't he, when he gets it? That second goal, it's just like an arrow into the corner. Fantastic.
That's a freak, innit? Yeah. Can they win it? Can they win it?
It's...
Well, I hope not, but maybe.
With him up front and what's around, it feels, it'd be incredible if they did. Because we've had it in the Euros, but we've never had it in the World Cup where a real, not elite favourite team has ever won it. So if they could, it'd be absolutely mind-boggling.
Ask me on Sunday. Ask me on Sunday, because we need to go from that game where Norway came out on top to the most remarkable night I've had for quite some time. With England just coming out with right, where do you start? Let's factor in the fact that it was delayed by an hour, Gaz.
Yeah, well, I said to you lads in the group chat before, because it was obviously due to start at 1, so you're thinking ordinarily it'd finish at 3, but then we're saying that there's going to be a rain delay because that's why they wanted to move the kickoff. So it was obvious that was going to happen. So that's going to be another hour. So you're talking it was going to be 4. And I said obviously we all stayed up and watched it, and we were chatting in the group chat where we had a couple of other mates we were chatting to as well. And I said to Susan, when it got to like 4:05 or whatever it was in the morning, and Mexico were on the attack, because that last 20 minutes, I don't think anyone thought that we'd be able, I certainly didn't think we'd be able to see it out, because it was literally the archetypal attack against defence, wasn't it? And we've been so poor defensively. And I said to Susan that obviously you didn't want us to concede, because you don't want to concede, you want to go through to the extra half. But I was thinking, it's going to be extra time here if we concede it. It's going to be gone 5 o'clock. I actually was thinking that as well. But yeah, where do you start? I don't know. Where do you start? We could go through the whole game from beginning to end, Chris, if you want.
Yeah, we'll break it into sections, I guess. And I hate myself, but this is where these bloody hydration rates come in handy, because you looked at when we got to that first hydration break that the game plan was to be in the game, I guess, to not mess up early doors, to not concede early doors, to get to that first hydration break well and truly still in the game, which we were, Jay.
Yeah, I thought we managed the first 20 minutes of the game extremely well. Like the pressure, all the talk about coming into the game, the altitude, the Mexican support, blah, 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 all that. We limited them to one pretty decent Raul Jimenez header, which Pickford saved really well. I thought he was excellent. Absolutely brilliant yesterday, Jordan Pickford. Whenever we needed him, we were called upon. He was coming out, punching everything. But yeah, alas, keep it to sections for now. That first 20 minutes, that was pretty much all it was limited to. I don't really remember England creating too much in that early part of the game, but that's not what it was about. We needed to wrestle control of the game and build into it. And in the second quarter, obviously the first quarter led to us being allowed to do what we then did between 25 minute and 45 minute. So, or 38 minute, if you want to say the second goal. So, yeah, I thought we were brilliant, mate. And we dictated the tempo. We dealt with the press well. We went long when we needed to. We just made all the right decisions, and we defended pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Brownlee, that kind of period where you have that water break again. I've said it before. I'd love them to just stick a microphone in the middle of those huddles during the hydration breaks and see and really hear what's being said, because whatever Tuchel said at that particular time, by God, it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we kind of managed, as Jay mentioned there, that opening 20, 25 minutes so well, did exactly what we needed to do. We gave ourselves a platform to build on. And, big shout out to a couple of players as well. Rice, I mean, there'd been question marks about his fitness and everything like that. He did the full 110 minutes last night, that driving run for the first goal.
And he was booked in the first minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that was one way you're going, oh, bloody hell, your central midfielder's going to have to play,
I genuinely don't think there was a more frequent message in our group chat than Lou saying, we need to get Rice off. We need to get Rice off. He's been booked. We need to get Rice off. Why isn't he taking Rice off? Rice is on a yellow card. Why isn't he even taken off yet?
He looked knackered as well, though, didn't he? He looked absolutely knackered. He was blowing out of his arse in the second half. So when they made the changes, I thought he's bound. He's got to come off, but they didn't. They left him on, and he was good.
Ezri Konza, it looked like he couldn't move. Come the end of the game, it was trudging over to that left back or the left winger because they were constantly feeding it out to the left one. And he was like, no, not again.
You've got to wonder how, obviously, the fact that the game was as intense as it was defensively for England in the end, but also that altitude there, maybe actually that did show itself a lot more than we were expected elsewhere. The 2 goals, Gaz, for England, I mean, Jesus, possibly the best 3 minutes that you'll see in England's shirt for quite a while.
Yeah, they were just a classic quick 1-2, wasn't it? I mean, the first goal, I thought that Saka. I'm not a huge fan of Saka at the best. I think he's overrated, but I thought it was poor last night. I thought he's obviously not clearly not fully fit, and I think the first goal was possibly the only really good thing he did throughout the whole game. It's a good run, it's a good break, and obviously it's a really good goal. Finished well by Bellingham with a header. And then the second goal, I don't know if you lads have seen it. There's a video going around on, I think the BBC Sport have done it actually. And it's split screen and it's showing Tuchel on the bottom. And it's showing the footage from the game on the top. And he's like proper animated. It's really, really good the way they break. And Tuchel goes mental when Bellingham scores again. It's a really good movie. Everyone thinks Kane's going to shoot, but he's got the foresight to cut it back to Bellingham to put it in. And like you said, Chris, possibly and I thought at 2-0, I thought we were in command. I thought this could be game over here. And obviously it wasn't. And we moved on into the next, towards the second half, and Mexico scored. But yeah, that 3 minutes, it was very, very, very good to be an England fan. Yeah,
I think I was the one in the group chat though that after we went 2-0 up was still like they're gonna come at us now though. This is when you go 2-0 up in a stadium of 87,000 Mexicans, and they are going to be baying for blood at the fact that they're 2-0 down, and that crowd really got behind them, and that kind of the last 10 minutes or so of that first half after we got the second brownie till half time and was it 5 or 6 minutes of added time as well at the end of that half. That was rough going. I mean, obviously we ended up conceding a good finish, to be fair, but from a set piece. That was rough going. We were glad to see the halftime whistle.
Yeah, it was just a barrage one, is it? And obviously we'd had it in the first game where Croatia, we'd had a lead and we went in 2-2 at half time. You thought, is that going to happen again? And it was so strange how it just kind of turned, wasn't it? And suddenly Mexico were all over us. They had a few chances. Pickford, some amazing saves. I agree with what Jay said. I thought it was absolutely superb last night. And you're just praying England just get in half time, 2-1 up. They managed to do it. And thank God they did. Because I mean, if that goes in 2-2 at half time, it's a
different game, isn't it? Completely different game. Second half starts. You think, okay, just nothing stupid early doors. 7 minutes later, and to be fair to us, we all said, I think, in the group chat, what a tackle! Great tackle! What a challenge that is from Gerald Kwanzaa. And then we saw the replay, and I just think he's really unfortunate myself, because if his leg doesn't go on top of the ball, kind of bounce up off the ball, he doesn't make as high a contact as he did. But it's one of those, letter of the law, this day and age, etc. It was always going to be a red card. And let's be fair, the referee didn't waste any starting time, did he? Jesus, one glance at the screen, and he was done, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say if his leg didn't bounce over the ball, because it did. You know what I mean? It's one of them. I do know what you mean.
It's just a freak situation where it does, and that's what leads him to him being so high. Otherwise, that his foot would probably have not. Well, it wouldn't have been anywhere near that high. But it is what it is.
You're right. I mean, it's one of them in it that where the expression of often is, well, he's gone over the top of the ball, and he literally got the ball and went over the top of the ball. It's a tricky one. I think it was unfortunate. It was harsh, but you kind of come to the right conclusion. It is a red card. What do you do? What are you meant to do with that? Like, I think we had a bit of a disagreement, me and you, because Lou said it's a lack of experience. You said it's got nothing to do with experience, and I actually more lean on Lou's side with it. Is that yes, he's gone and won the ball. I think a more experienced pro in that area would have just probably stood his ground, not committed to potentially that happening in that moment. You know what I mean? So I think
it's a shame for him. You know what? It's actually a shame for him, because I thought he was doing the job that he needed to do last night. Obviously, been a lot of criticism about him coming in and the right back situation. I actually thought he did exactly what we needed him to do.
Played really well.
Yeah. And it's a real shame, but I'm sure, Starmer or whoever's on the phone now to Infantino to get the ban rescinded.
Get that rectified.
So but a real shame for him that happened. And the World Cups and England, players getting sent off, it seems to happen, doesn't it, in these key games? We all remember 98, 2006, losing someone, and that early and that much of a game to go. We were all worried, but obviously we got the penalty not long after.
Yeah, it's a familiar feeling, wasn't it?
It was.
I've been here before. You just knew what the rest of the game was going to be like. And
Rooney, Beckham, and then Kwanzaa. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like Beckham, Rooney, Kwanzaa in 2026.
Could put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I was sure there was another as well. I'm like, haven't we had more? It feels like we've had more. Kind of sending us on.
Rooney got sent off, didn't he?
I said
Rooney in 2006.
Beckham, Rooney.
There was another one. I'm sure there was.
Sure. This is what I'm trying to think. I'm sure there is, but probably isn't. But it
might have been in the Euros or something, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But it was one of those. Obviously, he made the changes. He brought Stones on, moved Constantine right back. I think it was a fair call at the time. We then go and surprise ourselves a little bit. A rare foray forward after a good start from the Mexicans in that second half to some lovely play. Great flick on from Kane to find Gordon. Gordon rounds the keeper, gets taken out by the keeper, and England on just after what was it, the hour mark? Yep, bang on the hour mark, in a position to get themselves ahead. And at that point, we're all thinking the same thing. Don't stutter the bloody run up.
It's a huge moment, isn't it? I mean, I think it's easy to say without it, we go on to lose the game. But that very moment, not just the scoring of the penalty, but that foray forward, that attack, that moment from Kane, that moment from Gordon, who, again, another one was brilliant, was absolutely essential for us going on and winning this game. You know, there wouldn't have been a world, I don't think, in which at 2-1 we would have been able to hold on, really. So, yeah, huge.
Did you feel like, in a strange sense, that penalty coming so quickly after the red card, it almost felt like it cancelled out the red card? Right, we've got a goal now to cancel that red card out. We've got a 2-goal.
I know what you mean.
That's how it felt. It's like, oh, well, we're up against it. It's going to be off. We've been here before. We're 2-1 up, down to 10 men. And then it's like, oh, we've got another goal. Like, we might have a bit of a chance here.
It's a bit of justification, isn't it? Because it did feel harsh, didn't it? It felt like it had kind of the bad luck had gone against us, and then a moment later we kind of balanced that out. So I know exactly what you mean. I think it was justified though, because I do think we'd played well enough at that point to probably be 3-1 in front.
Yeah, we did the post, hadn't we, at the start of the second as well, didn't we?
Yes, through Nico O'Reilly's effort.
That wasn't long before the red card, was it? It was like 2 or 3 minutes before the red card. Yeah, literally 52nd minute, I think, when we hit the woodwork. Obviously, we then end up conceding the penalty. It's one of those you do draw comparisons, Jay, from that Modric penalty that Croatia conceded against England in the opening group game. At the first thing, I didn't think it was a penalty, but having seen other camera angles where you then see the Mexican kind of coming in from a blind side, you see why it's given, and the ever enthusiastic Darren Cal on the BBC said as much.
I was adamant it wasn't a penalty last night, but that was while watching the highlights again this morning, you're like, it was.
You can always rely on me and Lou to keep emotions away and just keep it subjective. So when me and Lou tell you one of our teams have conceded a penalty, it's a penalty.
We've got to go on West Yorkshire VAR, aren't we?
No, but I mean, it's one of them, innit? Like, it's so unfortunate. Yeah, I didn't mean to. Can't be a reason for it then not being a penalty. Like, he has come on the blinds. It's very similar to the Modric penalties. It's unlucky as such because the player, Harry Kane, in this moment, doesn't realise that once his leg gets to the point of striking the ball, there's going to be an opposition leg in the way. But there is an opposition leg in the way, so it's a penalty. It's a rough one, but it is.
As soon as you see that he's made contact with the foot before he's made contact with the ball, you realise it's going to be a penalty, and you see them given it all the time in that instance. And I'm sure, like you say, you mentioned the Modric one. I'm sure there was another one in another tournament where Kane's foot got kicked as the defender went to clear the ball, and we got a penalty. I'm trying to remember what it was, but there was another. England got a penalty in a very similar circumstance in another tournament. Like I said, the foot.
Brownie, we were talking about a comparison being the Ethan Ampadu one. When we were talking about the Modric foul, we were talking about the Ethan Ampadu one towards the back end of last season, where he's gone to come at the blind side of the opposition player, and he's ended up getting kicked in the head because I forget who it was, but the opposition player went to do an overhead kick. It was Spurs. It was the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium towards the end of last season. It was Matthias Tell.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same as that. Like, it's not there, then the opposition player is there, but it's not on the opposition player to make sure that they don't get hit. So, yeah.
We then saw the changes, and look, I mean, this is, I think Lou said at the time, this is at 3-2, where Tuchel needed to earn his corn, was Lou's words. His decision slightly surprised, I think, slightly caught us off guard. That was take off Nico O'Reilly and Elliot Anderson, bring on Jed Spencer at left back and Dan Burn and go for a back five. And we all say in the group chat, well, we're sitting back, we're trying to shut up shop, we're England, we're not going to do that though. That last 20 minutes or so of the game, plus the 11 bloody minutes of added time, were a combination, I think, of just stressful yet incredible. It just made you kind of proud to see the way that we were defending. Dan Burn was bloody excellent. I saw a couple of video clips earlier that one of his heading clearances went over the halfway line. You're like, bloody hell, how's he done that? But I didn't realise it 20-4 this morning. And yeah, just nuts. Brownie, I mean, your thoughts at the time doing some of the factors.
Well, my concern was basically there was no out ball. There was no way we were going to keep the ball upfield, because Harry Kane, ball going over, he's not going to chase things down. He's not going to kind of get you up the field running with the ball. I just thought, oh my God, it's just going to be wave after wave after wave. And like you say, we're going to probably concede. I think probably actually, if you look at it in the cold light of the day, we handled it really well and we shut up. And I actually think it almost kind of not impacted the atmosphere. It was still raucous, but it was almost like, because Mexico, with that period before, that second goal where they were getting really nasty, and it seemed to kind of level out, and they ran out of ideas. They were literally just swinging it in. We were heading everything away, and we, like you say, we managed to see it all out. And we are concerned about the English defence. We're concerned at what we've seen so far in the tournament, but they handled it magnificently. And it was spot on, but it was half an hour or whatever it ended up being. In the end, it was it was one of those difficult to watch, but amazing at the same time.
Yeah, Gaz, defensively to a man, superb.
You would never have expected it, would you? I mean, like you said, like Brownie said there, and like I said at the start, when you looked at the clock when he was making those changes, and you thought there's at least 20 minutes to go here. This is England. We're down to 10 men. We know what the history is. We know we can't defend. There is absolutely no way on God's earth we're going to see this out. And in the first half, I think I put something in the group chat. Mexico, that period of time that they had at the end of the first half where they were battering us, they'd realised in that few minutes that they needed to get the ball into our box because it was causing us all sorts of problems. We could not deal with the ball into the box. And you just thought, like Brownie said, it's going to be wave after wave. It's going to be more and more of the same. But the changes, like you said, that's what Tuchel's paid for. And nobody thought when he made those changes that it was the right thing to do, I don't think. But it worked. And like you said, Dan Burn was outstanding. We sort of went to a 5, because we'd had a man sent off. It was like a 5-3-1 that we were playing. I was looking at the formation as Mexico were building it up, and they kept switching it from side to side, and 1 minute it'd come in from one side and 1 minute it'd come in from the other. But every single member of that defence stood up, and like Jay said, Conser looked absolutely sharp. I think the only person who looked more tired than Conser was Bellingham. It was absolutely hard to walk at the end of the game. But they were all magnificent. I mean, we talk about Pickford, Gordon, Bellingham being outstanding, but that defence in that last 20 minutes stood up and did what it was there to do. And like you said, Dan Burn was, who people thought possibly shouldn't have been in the squad, did his job and did what he was taken to the World Cup to do and headed absolutely everything away that he could get near. Pickford came and punched everything. And from going from, like I said, nobody thought that those subs were right. Everybody worried with our history and where they'd realised that getting balls into the box was the way to attack us, that it wouldn't work. But it somehow it did, and that's what Tuchel's paid the money for. And
ultimately, Jay, I mean, look, what's a way to make a World Cup debut for Dan Burn in particular? And also, when we've bemoaned the English defence for the 3 group games and the game against Congo, who expected it to be the English defence to see the game through and to win us the game in the end, ultimately. You can see the match momentum there heavily in Mexico's favour for the last half an hour. Who thought the English defence is what would win it for us and get us through to the quarterfinal?
Yeah, I mean, there were parts of yesterday that weren't great either, especially in the first half. The goal that they scored towards the end of the first half were a defensive kind of nightmare, really, in the way that it ends up falling. But 100%, the second half, you have to give so much praise. I think there's a few special mentions. You've mentioned some of them already, but I think Tuchel deserves a load of credit for the way that he changed the game after the Raul Jimenez penalty. We set out to do what we did, and we limited them to very little. Pickford, I think, had 1 save to make. Apart from that, there were a couple of last-ditch defensive moments, but it was good. It was a really good defensive performance in that last 30 minutes. I thought John Stones were unreal when he came on. Putting his body on the line, reading everything, his experience was just, you could just tell. Dan Burn deserves a load of credit. Yeah, he's kind of a bit of a gimmick. I think some fans see him as a bit of a gimmick because he's massive and he's got this big throne. He's got the dances in the Newcastle changing room and he's a bit of a lad and all this. I think, but he's a great footballer as well. Like top footballer. I mean, he's 34-year-old. He's Dan Burn as well. Like, people forget that he's getting on a little bit. Like, he's been around a long time. He was brilliant. And I think you have to give a special mention to Jed Spence as well.
Yeah, he put in a couple of immense tackles.
He did. And the Mexico predominantly went down the left-hand side because they were getting no joy out of our left-hand side, out of their right-hand side.
Yeah.
Because Spence and Gordon were doubling up on the attacks that they were sending down the wing. They couldn't even get the ball in. They had to go to Konza's side because Konza couldn't really move come the end of the game. He was knackered. So Jed Spence was brilliant when he came on. I mean, there would have been a point where you'd have said if Konza would have been comfortable on the left, switch sides and Spence go to that side because he was brilliant. He was dealing with everything. You have to give him so much credit. I've been really critical of the England team throughout the whole competition. Even when we've won, we've not. I don't think we've been good. Yesterday, we saw a completely different kettle of fish. We saw character, we saw quality, we saw performance, we saw desire, we saw togetherness, we saw defensive resolute when we needed it. We saw, an effective press. We saw game management. We saw a performance yesterday that we can be really, really proud of. It's one of the best knockout performances that I can remember in my lifetime. Are we going to win the tournament? I think there's probably a bit of a stretch too far, but it's given me a confidence to say, look, we can go at Norway. We can look forward instead of thinking, shit, we're just going to get battered by the first good team that we come across. We had it all to deal with yesterday, and between them all, they all did it.
I think we've got to say as well, Jude Bellingham as well. I think we've got to give some praise for him. I mean, just phenomenal. Is that
carried him on the shoulders?
I mean, he's a freak anyway, isn't he? I mean, he goes to Dortmund at 19 or whatever, and then Real Madrid wins everything in his first year. I mean, we know he's a superstar. He's phenomenal. There were question marks about his place, even in the team at the start of the tournament. And he's just, he's absolutely incredible footballer. He does everything.
His footwork as well at times. There was one, I think, where he's surrounded by three Mexicans, and I heard somebody on TalkSport this morning, a caller that had rung up, and he kind of compared him to being a little bit Zidane-esque at times in that game yesterday, where he was just using his height, his strength, his physicality to dance away from 3 or 4 Mexicans at a time.
He's got that body type, hasn't he, like Zidane? Because Zidane wasn't agile and small like a Messi, but he just uses everything that he's got. I think it's a great comparison. I think you can tell since he was as small as, big enough to walk, Jude Bellingham will have envisaged being the man for England. You can just see it radiates off him. And I thought, he carried us on his shoulders on his own, didn't he, for periods yesterday? This team relies on Harry Kane so often, but Jude Bellingham is that engine, he's the driving force, and he was excellent, mate, yesterday. Brilliant.
Gaz?
You used a word there that I was literally gonna say is the engine of that team. It's his running power and his strength, and he's all round, not just that, but his all round ability. And like I think I said to Chris on one of the pods that we did last week, with him and Kane, they're your 2 match winners. They're the 2 that will win you a game. If you're up against it, they can do something that can win you a game, and that's what. And he, like you say, he pretty much carried us. He dragged us through at times last night because he's just so strong and his running power is just so good. And he looked absolutely fucked at the end of it.
Yeah, dude. They're going to need a couple of days, aren't they? All of them. There were a moment where, because he ended up playing up front, really, didn't he? There were a moment where the ball broke down the right-hand side and you saw him try to put a sprint on, and he's like, I just got nothing left.
It's probably no bad thing that we've got this slightly longer gap between the games. Obviously, we're playing this morning and then and not playing now until Saturday. Quick word on John Henderson, because obviously, what an evening John Henderson had without actually entering the field of play for a start. And you could actually, to be fair, there were times, say in the second half, you could see that whilst he was acting as a sub, he was effectively coaching from the sidelines, and I've seen that at club level actually, though in the leagues this season, senior players doing that off the bench, and Henderson was doing that during the game to the point where he ended up getting a yellow card for it as well. And then in the aftermath of the celebrations, it's horrible. I'm assuming we've all seen it. Goes over one of the advertising hoardings, lands on his arm, and it's nasty. It's such a blow for him, because that's likely going to be the end of his tournament in terms of chances of getting on the pitch. There were times yesterday, actually, I thought he would have been quite useful to have brought on, but A word on Henderson. I'd say that experience and that kind of coaching on the sidelines, Jade, looked pretty important. I think it can go unnoticed, to be fair, quite easily.
Massively, it can go unnoticed. This is why Brentford was so keen to sign him, and when they did, I think again people they scoff at a player like Jordan Henderson. It's vital. You speak to a lot of Liverpool ex-players or current players that played with him, they'll tell you how important it was. I know there's interviews that have gone around of oppositions where they've played against the Jordan Henderson Liverpool team and they were all like, he's an absolute nightmare. Ben Foster talks about it on the Foscast about Jordan Henderson. So a guest comes on and basically, talks about his importance on that team. He's absolutely vital. When you look at the likes of Salah, Mane, and some of the players that were playing that were more impactful maybe within that side, so many of them still came back to how vital Jordan Henderson was. I think if you had to pick a player from the current maybe crop of England players to be a future manager, you'd look at a Jordan Henderson, wouldn't you? And you'd say, yeah, he's going to make that step up to a coaching role. It's a shame. The likelihood is that'll be how his England career finishes as well, given his age and timing and everything else. So it is a huge shame. It's one of them things. We're all human. It's just a freak accident. And I've seen the jump, but I've not seen any.
Yeah, there's like a zoomed in one where you can see it, and it's brutal. I think what I will say as well, I think the Henderson, because when he got picked, I wasn't really enamoured by it. I thought, you've got players like Wharton, and obviously there were a lot of question marks about, and I thought I was Morgan Gibbs-White not there, for example. But again, you're looking at how Tuchel's built this squad. And it feels like a lot of his decisions are being really justified now in a lot of ways. Because we've not often seen that from England managers. It's generally been get all the biggest names in there, crowbar them in somehow. Don't matter if they're not fit, just get them in. With Henderson, if that kind of, not cheerleading, but that kind of voice inside the dressing room, it is vital. He's made comment on it. So again, he's kind of justified in what he's done there. And Henderson will still be there with a pot on his arm or whatever. You can guarantee that he'll still be there in the camp and still doing his bit.
Yeah, he's never let England down. He's never let Liverpool down, really, as he has.
No, Jay's spot on in where he talks about. Obviously, Liverpool had him and Milner at the same time. It was just the talk was not just what to do on the pitch, but it's the standards around the place at all times, holding everybody to account, making sure everybody's giving 110% at all times, and extracting every ounce of ability that they have out of the body. And that's what he's like. And it's the ultimate professional, isn't it? We talk about these people, and these people need it. I actually saw a little interview with Glenn Hoddle last week sometime, and he was asked about Henderson, and he suggested. And I thought it was a bit of a wild take because I remember England getting criticised for this once before. But he suggested that Tuchel should have taken Henderson as a coach rather than as a player and a member of the squad. And I'm not so sure how I feel about that. But that was Glenn Hoddle's take on it.
I can see both sides because you then have that experience and leadership and know-how. I guess your flip side is you can't actually get that onto the pitch, though, at any stage should you require the ability to do so. So I can see both sides, to be fair.
We did it with Beckham. Beckham once went and did it, didn't he? Went as a non-playing member of... Was it Capello? Was it Hodgson? I couldn't remember who it was under.
Might have been early Hodgson.
It's a bridge between player and coaching team. And it's a little bit like what's happened over more recent years in the under-21s where you've had like Johnny Howson at Leeds or Tom Huddleston at Man United playing in the under-21s. It's similar-ish to that because they're still a player, they're still registered, and they still can kind of be on their level, but they're still a coach. I don't know how I feel about it either. I think ultimately he's taken a place within the squad. He's still good enough to play if was called upon, but he plays a minimal role part. And the coaching aspect and the influence still comes from within. So I think it's probably all right the way it is, to be honest.
Final question then before we move on from England and quickly look at tonight's games. England-Norway, Saturday, 10 o'clock. How do we see this one going? Again, another one on paper that you look at and think, oh, God, this will be a really tough game, but also a really entertaining game.
Somebody else start.
It's weird, isn't it? Because mentally you go, I'm glad we're not facing Brazil. It still feels like I'm really glad we're not having to face Brazil in the World Cup, even though we've just seen what Norway have done to Brazil. So I think it's going to be great, isn't it? I mean, 10 o'clock Saturday. We know Haaland well, obviously playing in the league. We know what he's about, but it's not just Haaland. There's quality all over that Norwegian team. But we're a threat. It feels like we're growing into this. I think it's going to be tasty. It's going to be really, really tasty. I can't wait for it.
I thought that. Well, yeah, I've been looking at the path throughout the tournament, and I was obviously you just look at it and you do it without even thinking because it's Brazil, but you think we're going to play Brazil in the quarters. And I said to you lads a couple of times, I think we'll beat Brazil, and mainly for the reasons that we talked before about that midfield and Fabinho and Casemiro not having the legs. And I didn't really think about Norway. And you would ordinarily say, looking at it, keep Haaland quiet and you can win the game. But how many teams have tried to keep Haaland quiet throughout his career so far? And then, like Brownie and Jay have said previously, there's other quality in that team as well. So it isn't just keeping him quiet. So that's a big part of it. But even if you can do that, there are other bits around as well. And how many people have tried to keep him quiet? I don't know. I don't make predictions, so I'm not going to try.
I guess, Jay, the thing with this one is going to be the familiarity. Like everybody in that England squad was very familiar with Erling Haaland at Premier League level, or the bulk of, with the exception maybe of Kane and Bellingham. So defensively, will have played against Erling Haaland in the last season or two. They'll know what he's all about, but that didn't help Gabriel at the weekend playing for Brazil, did it? It's interesting. I did see some clips actually. I can't remember whether it was the BBC after the game last night or whether I'd seen it on social media, but one of the pundits had said that actually this is where Dan Burn could come into his own, and showed a multitude of clips of Dan Burn actually getting the better of Haaland at club level in recent seasons. It's an interesting take. Look, they always say that players are put in squads with a job and a purpose in mind. Maybe this is Dan Burn's time to shine.
Maybe. I mean, we were speaking about the question yesterday. I answered it with I'd prefer to play Brazil for all the reasons that Gaz has mentioned. You've got to strip the name out of it and look at the reality of the playing squads. And that midfield, I mean, Bellingham, Anderson and Declan Rice would run rings around that Brazil midfield. I'd have felt more confident about the Brazil game than I did last night or the Norway game, personally. I think Brazil had been the easiest out of the three. Brazil at the minute, especially with Rafinha being injured, it's Vinicius Junior or bust, in it. That's kind of how it feels when you're watching them. So it's going to be a really, really tough game. Yesterday, the manager weren't happy at half-time. I thought Soloth had a really, really good game in the first half. Takes him off at half-time, takes Noosa off, who everybody's waxing lyrical over, I thought he took them both off at half-time and brought on Schroeder up and I forget the lad's name. On
Strand Larsen, right?
No, it wasn't Strand Larsen. Who was it? Anyway,
only a young lad, wasn't he? As well,
yeah, they swapped both wings at half-time. Schroeder was the main one on the left. I like him a lot. But
Oscar Bob came on, didn't he?
Oscar Bob,
Oscar Bob.
Yeah.
But it shows that they're prepared to make brave changes, change the game up. They've got attacking intelligence and intent all over. They've got game changers within the squads. That midfield, as I said earlier, the top, it's going to be a really, really tough game. And then arguably, like I said, the best player.
Can I just say, what I spotted a few times last night, and when I watch him, there is that thing is Odegaard getting caught out in possession. It happened a few times last night. They'll got good chances on the back of it. And yeah, I just wonder if we smash into him, if we're on his case, maybe that's a little chink in the armor, possibly.
There's a reason that he's downgraded his career to go to Turkey at this stage of his career at 31-year-old. Maybe he recognises the fact that he's slowing himself down. He's slowing down a little bit. I know exactly what you mean. I think he's had moments a little bit like Luka Modric has had. Yeah. Luka Modric, will be that deep line playmaker, doing things that other players just wouldn't do in and around the edge of his own box and give possession away. Earlier on in his career, he wouldn't do that, and the same goes for Odegaard. So, yeah, I've definitely seen the moments as well. He's never fully fit, Odegaard, either, I'm sure of it. Like, he's always seems like he's on the verge of an injury breakdown. So, it'll be interesting, mate. I'm not going to make any predictions because I don't want to. I can't make them. It's not that I don't want to. I can't make it.
I'll make one prediction. I reckon we resume the FIFA tournament at Jay's house for it on Saturday. Get that FIFA tournament back underway. Let's move on to tonight's games then very quickly. A couple of corky-looking matches on the face of it. The 8 o'clock game for us is Portugal versus Spain. Very quickly, Gaz, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, well, it's going to be a great game, isn't it? It's a rivalry. We know Portugal and Spain are rivals. We know they've both got quality in the side. And added a little bit of spice, which was to be expected, but Ronaldo said it'll be his last World Cup, hasn't he? So it's a little bit of spice in there as well. I think Spain, I said before the tournament started that it'd be my tip would be Spain or France to win it. Spain haven't been quite as impressive as France so far, but they have had moments, or more than moments, really. I think obviously the first game when they drew with Cape Verde was a shock, but since then they've looked really good. They've looked typical Spain, very much possession-based side. They will cause Portugal problems. Portugal very lucky, I thought, against Croatia the other day. So you would ordinarily back Spain, but with the rivalry and the Ronaldo factor, who knows what could happen. I'm really looking forward to it. It's two big teams, lots of good players, and a decent time for a kick-off for us. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Is the hardest part trying to stay awake long enough to see the game, Jay?
Yeah, it can be. I mean, I've loved this World Cup, and I've stayed up for every single one that I feel like I possibly could have done. 1 o'clock a.m. is not even off limits, depending on what I've got coming the next day. But it's nice to have a reasonable time in which then, if it does go extra time and pens, you're not having to think, come on, like I want to go to bed. Like, so I'm really looking forward to this one. I agree with everything Gaz said, and I think Spain go into it as favourite. I just have a sneaky feeling that Portugal are a very good side as well. And I think if Rafael Leao plays, I think the key could cause them an absolute nightmare down that left-hand side.
Yeah, because he's been off the bench in the first 3 games, hadn't he? And then started the game against Croatia. Yeah. Brownie, your take on it?
Yeah, I was going to say it was Qatar, wasn't it, where Ronaldo got the hat-trick against Spain in the group match? I think it was. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Could lightning strike again? We obviously a lot of controversy around Ronaldo and how much he should be playing, etc. From a selfish kind of England point of view, I mentioned it before we got going. Guess you'd prefer to see Portugal go through. They seem a little bit not as solid, not as sure as compared to Spain, who I thought were excellent in the previous game. But yeah, it's going to be a fascinating game. Certainly, they've got the weapons to really hurt Spain. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the second game tonight, speaking of controversy, sees the USA play Belgium, and a red card apparently doesn't mean a suspension anymore. Florian Balogun, what a shit show this is. The President Trump allegedly made a call to Infantino to get a review on it, and lo and behold, FIFA have bent over, bean-fisted, and have withdrawn the suspension. So Balogun is allowed to play, Jay.
It's just a nonsense. It's a nonsense. Politics getting involved, rules being changed to suit certain circumstances. And then you're completely watering down the integrity of the competition. And then not only that, if they then follow that through with not rescinding, but postponing Gerald Clover's red card as an example.
The suspension has been suspended for a year.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell that means, because why? Like, that's going to be what? He can't play in a qualifying game for something in a year's time. What a bizarre...
It's nonsense. It's absolutely... So I'm expecting to see Kwanzaa available for the next game. I can't believe in any which world it would be possible for us to continue the tournament with Balogun being able to get out of this and then play this game, and any other player, not just an England player, being able to not play. It's
no. Trump didn't think it was a foul, so that's the difference, you see.
Well,
that's literally what he's come out and said. He said he didn't think it was a foul by Balogun, so it shouldn't have been a red card. And he's picked up the phone, he's rang Infantino, and this is...
I've never heard anything like it.
It's absolutely bonkers. Can you imagine, if it had been in Qatar and this would have happened, or any other World Cup where host nation can get a decision like that overturned? It's absolutely It's insane. And like Jay says, it calls into question the integrity of the whole thing. I see France now are appealing Elise's yellow card. So where's the line now? What's going on? I know a little bit of a precedent was set with the Ronaldo overturning they did before.
That's a big difference.
This is like another. I get this is a different stratosphere.
It's another level, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let's just hope that King Charles or Keir Starmer has been on the phone about Camp Quanza's red card last night. Gaz, I don't want to deny you a chance to voice your opinion on the situation on Balogun, but I also want you to kind of talk about the football as well for us.
Belgium, we've talked about them being at the back end of the golden generation, which you thought would probably be a good thing. United States, similar to Canada, been mightily impressive so far. Just my little bit on the Balogun thing is the fact that there is even an article in place. They talked about an article being in place where they provided themselves with the opportunity to make this decision. Like, it's just the integrity is just completely and utterly gone. And if it is because Donald Trump's made the bloody phone call, then like Brownie says, what if this had happened in Qatar? We'd have been absolutely up in arms. The reaction would have been, probably quite xenophobic, really. And then you've got the whole situation. How much does Donald Trump know about football? Well-known footballing expert Donald Trump.
Well, I'm just looking at a quote here. So he said, I don't even know what a red card is, but when I found out, I had to get it over to...
It's mental, absolutely mental. Jay, on the football itself, very briefly, we saw, and I know you and I watched the extra time, the latter stages of Belgium in their previous game against Senegal. Honestly, one of the most entertaining second halves and extra time that we've seen for a long time. Hell of a comeback from Belgium. How do you rate their chances tonight?
I don't know how they're even still here, if I'm honest.
Not that high. Cheers, mate.
No, they've shown flashes have been good, but Senegal dominated that game. Absolutely dominated for 86 minutes. And then Lukaku came on and all hell broke loose. I felt really sorry for Senegal, if I'm honest, but that's football, that's sport, it's the way it goes. I lean in fit. I think Belgium have got the better team, but I just lean slightly in favour of the United States. I think Poch has got it going there. I think they've got some talent. Well, I know they've got some real talent within that team. Balogun being available is massive because he's had a really good tournament, and they've got home advantage. So I think I'm going to say the US, yeah.
It's interesting that you should mention the managers there, because I have totally different opinions about Pochettino and Martinez. I think holds the team back, and I really rate Pochettino. I think he gets the better out of his players, and I've rated him since he was at Spurs. So I think the managers could both play a big part in this game.
I agree with you.
That's how I feel about it.
I rate Poch. I don't know if you meant that I didn't there, guys. I rate Poch a lot. I didn't. No. Yeah. I think he's done a lot for the way that this US team play. I think you can see his coaching within the way that they set up. And Martinez, I'm guessing you're talking Portugal Martinez. Me and Chris can't stand the guy. I don't know how he's ended up getting the gigs that he's got, really. So, rate him a lot.
Yeah, sorry.
The one thing I will say on this is, whilst I do rate Poch as a manager, I can't remember word for word, so I'm not going to try and regurgitate what he said, but his talking about the Balogun situation is just horrendous.
What's his head? What is that? I've not seen what
he's almost trying to justify it. It's really, really odd for a man that's heavily involved in football.
He's put in a difficult position, though, isn't he? He's in a
tough position for him to be in.
He's stuck in it, I know, but as I say, I'm not going to try and regurgitate them, but go and watch his pre-game conference when he's talking about this Balogun situation. It just made me like, ugh, awful. We'll wrap it up there then. Lads, thanks ever so much for joining us. It's been an enjoyable one to look back and review all the drama and the action from, this morning, to be honest, the early hours of this morning. Gaz, Jay, Brownie, thanks for joining us. Big thanks to Dave for you as well, who joined us a little bit earlier on. I think Brownie and Gaz are going to be with you tomorrow for a World Cup Daily. There we go, Brownie. I've said it. You need to commit to it now. So you're in. You're in. Tag. You're it. So join the lads for that one tomorrow. But for myself, though, and the lads, enjoy the rest of your, what day is it now? Monday. And we'll see you again soon here on the West Junction Football Show. Take care.